So we have a question from Sue in Kent, who asks, without a hard border between the Irish Republic and Northern Ireland, how will the government prevent people illegally entering the UK?
Well, I mean, the answer is to a considerable extent it won't, but then it doesn't at the moment, and that's not how, as I was explaining before, that's not really how it works. That's not how we don't...
not about borders.
It's not so much about borders. I mean, people who are in Ireland will have been, will be there, in principle ought to be there legally anyway. It's part of the common travel area, so they shouldn't be let into Ireland in the first place unless they have at least the right to travel. But there will be nothing to stop somebody going from Poland to Ireland and then coming to the EU, to the UK. But then, as I said before, there actually won't be anything stopping somebody coming from Poland to London if they want to. They'll just have to show their passport and get their passport stamped and maybe apply for some sort of travel authorization. The real question is always about working illegally. And so for that, it doesn't really matter whether they come via London or via the Irish border. There are some security issues with respect to people coming across the Irish border, but in terms of immigration, it's not really such a big deal. Because that's not how we control, how we really control who's in the country. But I think that does illustrate one point, which is there is again this sort of myth that we can be like Australia. In Australia, they count everybody in and out. Well, they sort of do in Australia, count pretty much everyone in and out. We're not going to do that. Brexit or no Brexit, we ain't going to do that. Not going to happen. Because we're not going to. We've agreed to maintain the common travel area, which lets people cross the Irish border, regardless of what happens. Hard border or no hard border for goods, there's going to be we'll still be in the common travel area. We're not going to be counting people in and out. And the idea that there's somehow that there's this myth that we can somehow control exactly who's here and what they're doing at any point. That is not how the UK is working. We have 100 million people or so entering this country every year. We're not going to be counting them in and out.
So it's primarily because of the practical constraints on the amount of people that are moving, including British nationals.
The amount of people are moving includes British nationals. The fact that we have and had for a long time, even before we joined the EU, the common travel area. All of these things mean that it's just not practical. We control people essentially by controlling what they're allowed to do when they're here. Are they allowed to work? That sort of thing. That's really how we exercise immigration control.